Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion is an adorable Zelda-inspired indie game that seems like a lighthearted, fun-filled adventure at first glance. But in reality, it's a dark, post-apocalyptic world. Oops, I might have gotten ahead of myself there. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? In this charming game, you play as Turnip Boy, a cute little vegetable who's found himself in a bit of a pickle with the tax authorities. To pay off his debts, he must complete various tasks for Mayor Onion. But as you'll soon discover, this seemingly innocent game has a surprisingly dark and twisted story. If you're new to Turnip Boy's adventures, buckle up because you're in for a wild ride. So let's get started. Let's talk about our hero, Turnip Boy. He is straight up chaos incarnate. He's been dodging taxes like it's his full-time job, and the government is not happy about it. So, Turnip Boy owes a ridiculous amount of money to the tax man. The sum is $143,753 due literally yesterday. And that's not even the worst part. They slapped a 50% interest on top of that, and they even took away his greenhouse. But does Turnip Boy care? Nope, he just rips up the tax bill like it's a piece of junk mail. Now, there's one thing you need to know about Turnip Boy. He's a total menace to society. This little terror rips up everything people give him, steals a precious watering can from a grieving old man, Lemon, which is the last reminder of his late wife, by the way, wrecks someone's love life, and even kills an innocent snail. All within the first 5 minutes of the game. Like I said, a menace. But anyways, back to the story. We run into the big boss of the town, Mayor Onion, and to pay off this massive debt that's looming over our heads, we've got to do some favors for the mayor. The first mission is taking care of some pesky critters that have invaded the barn where the mayor's office is located. And we need to bring back a bag of fertilizer as proof. When we arrive at the barn, we find out that the mayor has an assistant who's an edgy video game streamer called Slay Queen 32. She even asks us for a tier 3 sub, so we happily oblige and bring her back a Subway sandwich. There are also bags of fertilizer and hay bales scattered around. And the animal we're supposed to take care of is a massive pig that's been chowing down on way too much fertilizer, causing it to grow to an absurd size. But fear not, we managed to defeat the porky menace and snag the fertilizer. So far, everything seems normal. Well, minus the fact that apparently wood is illegal, and we get some from a shady dealer for a construction worker. But hey, at least we got a hard hat out of it. The second favor the mayor asks us to do is to get him a fork from an abandoned house. Sounds simple enough. When we get there, we realize this place is a total dump. Windows are boarded up, the furniture is busted, and the rugs look like they've seen better days. But here's where it gets interesting. We start to see the remnants of human presence. From the notes and journals scattered around, we learn that a family of 4 lived here. 2 parents and 2 kids, a girl named Liz, and a boy named Matt. It seems like they were a pretty happy bunch. But then tragedy struck. Matt, who we can assume was the older brother, was drafted into the US Army and ended up going MIA during a war that was still going on in 2020. We'll come back to this later. Now, the barn itself is looking a bit worse for wear, but it's not completely abandoned. Our little turnip hero stumbles upon a creepy ghost with white eyes and a bloody forehead, just staring at him before vanishing into thin air. Spooky! Also inside the house, we stumble upon a refrigerator that's apparently a makeshift camp for a bunch of fruits and veggies. They've got their own little infirmary and jail setup going on, and they even got a spunky little DJ, which is a fire called DJ Sizzle, who says sizzle me dizzle fizzle yo. But that's not important. What is important is that this is where we run into the pickle gang. These pickles drop a couple of bombshells on us. First, they mention that only those with mafia blood can hold hands without weapons. Okay. Then they ask if we're related to some guy named Don Turnipchino and start calling us family friends. So this mobster recognizes us by appearance and knows our family name. This will make sense later, kind of. After running errands for the fridge veggies, like getting medicine and fixing up an old generator, we encounter the area boss. which is a rotten apple cat with a toast strapped to its back. Because, cats always land on their feet and toast always falls on the wrong side, so it just keeps flipping forever. After defeating the boss, we finally get the generator up and running and snatch the fork we needed. Mission accomplished. And during our little exploration of this place, we stumble upon Annie Avocado. She's this adorable little avocado who's apparently investigating the area. We run into her again later in the Forbidden Forest, where she's got her lab set up. Now buckle up, because things are about to get wild. The mayor's third task involves getting a sample of this green liquid that's lurking in the Forbidden Forest. But fear not, because Annie's got our back. She's been studying this forest her whole life and thinks there might be some clues here about how this whole vegetable society came to be. In fact, it's the mayor who is financing her research, which seems to include getting samples of this liquid from the forest and a barrel of radioactive material. We are then sent to check out a mural north of the forest. So we head up north and stumble upon a fortified facility that's oozing with green liquid and barrels of radioactive material. And that's where we spot a mural of a group of veggies worshipping what looks like a giant mushroom. Annie fills us in on the fact that these giant shrooms have been part of Veggie Society mythology for ages, but most folks just thought they were made-up stories. Annie's starting to get a bit antsy about all this, so she sends us on a mission to check out an abandoned turnip farm down south of the forest. And guess what we find there? A turnip. Yep, just a regular old lifeless turnip. No personality, nothing. It's got Annie scratching her head, and in a last-ditch effort to get some answers, she tells us to head east of the forest. That's where things get even weirder. We come across some acorns that are drenched in that green liquid the mayor was asking for, and just like the other critters in the forest, they're alive but totally out of it. They have no clue where they are or who they are. It's like the green goop just zapped them into life. At the bottom of the forest, we encounter the area boss. It's a massive radioactive deer, but we manage to take it down and snag that green liquid. The only problem is that it starts irradiating us, and we start glowing this sickly green color. But hey, that's probably just a normal side effect, right? So Annie's put all the pieces together and figured out that this green goop is what's bringing veggies to life. As you have probably guessed, those giant mushrooms are a nod to mushroom clouds. The ones that happen after a nuclear bomb goes boom. And that green liquid is nuclear waste that got scattered all over the place after some catastrophe. I mean, it's everywhere. In the water, in bunkers, filled with toxic barrels, you name it. So the veggies see the mushroom clouds as some kind of creation myth, like they're gods. Yeah, that pretty much confirms that this whole conscious plant thing is a result of a nuclear disaster. This is only confirmed by the fact that there are 0 humans around nowadays, but we know for sure that humans were a thing at some point, thanks to the mayor's 4th mission. In this mission, he sends us to find a laser pointer, and we stumble upon a cemetery. In one of the graves, there's a note from someone to their buried parents, and it's got photos of 2 kids, Matt and Liz, and you can see that they're human. But because Turnip Boy is just a total jerk, he just rips it. So yeah, it's looking like this whole world is the aftermath of nuclear chaos. Humans are gone, veggies are alive and kicking, and everyone's worshipping mushroom clouds like they're the second coming. And if that wasn't enough of a clue, we get an even bigger one when we snag the shovel and head into the bomb-proof bunker where the laser pointer is supposed to be. We even see 2 ghosts that run away from Turnip Boy when he approaches. Those, as you have probably guessed, are the mom and dad who used to live here. But that's not even the craziest part. Remember Liz, the girl who's been mentioned throughout the entire game? The one who wrote all those journals and whose brother Matthew went to war? Yeah, she's alive and well right there in the bunker. The first time we bump into her, she's hiding in a closet. But because Turnip Boy is such a jerk, he accidentally contaminates her with the leftover radiation from when he got that green liquid. Oops. And then the second time we see her, she's gone full-on mutant mode. And in fact, she's the area boss and we have to take her down to get our hands on that laser pointer. So yeah, Turnip Boy is a menace. This laser pointer is the last piece of the puzzle we need to pay off our debt and get our greenhouse back. But you know how it goes with these capitalist types. Mayor Onion, being the greedy onion he is, doesn't give us diddly squat. Apparently there's something super valuable hidden underneath the greenhouse, and he's not about to let us get our grubby little turnip hands on it. So then he locks us out. What a jerk. But then Old Man Lemon, the guy whose watering can we totally stole at the beginning of the game, spills the tea on the whole affair. Turns out this isn't just your run-of-the-mill post-apocalyptic story. Oh no, we've got mobsters in the mix too. Here's what Old Man Lemon tells us. The mayor and Turnip Boy's dad, a guy named Don Turnipchino, were the big shots who founded this town. But somewhere along the line, things went sour. Mayor Onion, being the backstabbing scumbag he is, straight up murdered Don Turnipchino to get his hands on an atomic bomb that was stashed away in a shelter under the greenhouse. Yeah, things escalated real quick. With this information, we confront Mayor Onion, who turns out to be the final boss of the game. So here we are, face to face with the big bad Mayor Onion himself, and it's time for the final showdown. He's got the IRS backing him up, and he's not messing around. He takes all the items we've been collecting for him and just absorbs it into his body like some kind of freaky veggie mutant. And then he takes out the fork we got him and starts wielding it like a weapon. We give it our all and manage to take down the mayor. But just when we think it's all over, this sneaky veggie pulls a fast one on us. He sets off the bomb, and the next thing we know, Veggietown is hurtling through space like a giant radioactive ball. So the real boss fight is against the mayor's mutated form, all hopped up on nuclear energy from the bomb. He's transformed into this monstrosity called the Onion God, and it's up to Turnip Boy and his unlikely allies, the IRS agents, to take him down once and for all. In the end, our little turnip hero prevails, and Veggietown comes crashing back down to Earth. Turnip Boy finally gets his greenhouse back, and Mayor Onion's reign of capitalist terror is over. It's all butterflies and rainbows. But the real question is, what the heck did we just watch? And what the heck really happened to humans? Well, buckle up, because we're about to take a deep dive into the dark backstory of Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. The story starts sometime before 2020, and humanity is getting absolutely wrecked by a nasty virus. They're throwing everything they've got at it, but nothing seems to work. Anyway, this whole mess leads to some serious global chaos, and before you know it, the world's plunged into war, and they start whipping out the nukes. So, fast forward a bit, and the world's turned into a total wasteland. Plants and animals are still kicking around, but humans? They're pretty much extinct. Well, almost. Turns out there's one family, the Rigsbys, who managed to survive the apocalypse. You've got the mom, the dad, their daughter Liz, and their boy Matt. Now here's the sad part. Their older son Matthew was drafted into the war and didn't make it. So, the rest of the family is hunkered down in this underground bunker beneath their farm until the mom and dad perish, leaving Liz as the sole survivor. But because of Turnip Boy, Liz is exposed to radiation and mutates and perishes as well. It's a very tragic story. But meanwhile, up on the surface, all that radioactive gunk and toxic waste from the bombs is causing all sorts of mutations. And the veggies are starting to become affected. A turnip, an onion, and a lemon, yes, a turnip, an onion, and a lemon, were the first to rise from the disaster, acquiring consciousness and gradually becoming intelligent. As this little veggie society starts to take shape, these three team up and form their own little organization, like some kind of produce mafia. Don Turnipchino, Turnip Boy's dear old dad, is the big boss of the operation. Old Man Lemon's the muscle, taking care of any dirty work that needs doing. And Mayor Onion's the brains behind the whole thing, whispering in Turnipchino's ear. Then, Turnipchino starts digging into what life was like before the apocalypse. He learns about all the wars and the nasty stuff those bombs did. Meanwhile, Mayor Onion is learning about cold, hard cash and how to run a government. But things get tense between the three of them when they stumble upon an unexploded nuke. Turnipchino and Mayor Onion start butting heads over what to do with it. Turnip Chino wants to get rid of it because he knows just how dangerous it is. But Mayor Onion's got other plans. He wants to use it to take over the world, like some kind of onion god. And that's when things get really messy. Mayor Onion straight up murders Turnip Chino and sets up his own government, modeled after human bureaucracy. He even writes this manifesto called The Layers of the Onion. Mayor Onion had validated property rights and handed out land titles, including the ones that used to belong to the Turnip Mafia. And that's how Turnip Boy, the descendant of the late great Don Turnip Chino, got a hold of the greenhouse. Then Mayor Onion gets this bright idea to get his grubby little hands on all that land back. He starts slapping taxes on everyone, and at the top of his list is none other than Turnip Boy. Obviously, Turnip Boy couldn't care less about paying taxes. He's too busy causing chaos and ripping up documents, so Mayor Onion seizes the opportunity and kicks him out of the greenhouse. But, being the sly old onion he is, the mayor cuts Turnip Boy a deal. He tells the little troublemaker that if he wants to clear his debt and get his house back, he's got to go on a scavenger hunt for relics and artifacts from the old human world. Mayor Onion's got big plans for the items, thinking it'll help him take over the entire veggie society and rule as a god. But here's the thing. He didn't count on Turnip Boy being the ultimate wild card. So, what does our hero do? He takes on the mayor head on. And you know what? Turnip Boy comes out on top. He puts the smackdown on Mayor Onion, foiling his plans for veggie domination. And that's a wrap on the shockingly dark backstory of Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. What started as a quirky, lighthearted adventure about a rebellious turnip turned out to be a story set in a post-apocalyptic world. The cute vegetables are actually the result of mutation caused by radioactive waste, and the entire society is built upon the remnants of human civilization. If you enjoyed this series, give it a thumbs up so I know to keep making more. Subscribe if you loved it, and let me know in the comments what other seemingly innocent games you know that have surprisingly dark backstories. Thank you for joining me on this wild journey today, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, remember to always pay your taxes and never trust a talking onion. Bye.